pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, let the record show that Trustee Hamilton Starks and Trustee Barnes and Trustee Deleuze are present. And there was no action taken in closed session. At this point, I will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Move on now to communications. Members of the public may address the Board of Trustees regarding any agenda item during consideration of that item. Please note that if you wish to address the Board of Trustees on an agenda item, you should do so when that specific item is called for by the Board President. To submit a comment in person, please complete a public comment card. You can also provide your feedback online via Assembly Gamut or live chat feature via YouTube. Comments submitted online will be read by the board assistant, and all remarks are limited to a duration of 2 minutes. At this point, this is an opportunity for individuals to address the board on items that are not on the agenda. Please note that because they are not agendized items, we cannot take action on them. But do know that we are listening, and if necessary, we will direct staff to follow up. Is there anyone who would like to address the board on an item that is not on today's agenda? Okay, and there doesn't appear to be anyone online, so we'll go ahead and move forward to reports. And we'll start with the Robla Education Foundation.
Good evening, and I'm going to try to lead by example and keep it nice and short. Terrific 10 books for last month's students were delivered yesterday. Terrific 10 books for this month's students that were here yesterday for their dinner their order has already been placed. Moving on to fireworks. Hey, we need to get this done, you know. Fireworks, I'm still waiting to hear back from Miss Crisp. She is going to be my liaison between me and the principals to see if they are all in on the idea of each school taking a particular day and staffing that day, and then have it, if they agree to that, then I will be coming to the district to get district to agree to have all the different units here take a day, and then everybody pitches in on the 4th, as you know from experience. We're usually pretty skinny on the 4th.
Yeah.
So, but that's where we're at right now, and the Golden One grant that Mr. Caff worked on that came through the foundation, come next week on the 19th, we're going to have a dinner over here at the school site, and have the parents and the students of them 36 students come in, and we'll go over the process with them, what the computers are for. We have all the computers, and they've already been set up thanks to Elliot. So we are glad we're getting this thing off the ground. Any questions? Did I keep it short enough?
You kept it plenty short.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, sir. Can now move on to Robla Teachers Association, CSEA, Superintendent's Report.
Good evening. I will keep mine short as well. Read Across America was last week, and we had wonderful activities at the school. I just want to thank Mr. Ramos at Glenwood and Ms. Bryan at Taylor for having me as a guest reader to their classes. It was great. We did have Terrific 10 yesterday, and the kids were wonderful. We had a lot of young students, and usually when we have young students, they don't engage in the conversation, but they were very much engaged. So, and I'm really excited that their orders for the scholastics given by, Robla Education Foundation are in, because when I share with them, I said, oh, I know Mr. Raven's going to talk to your teacher, so that's really exciting that they're taking care of it.
The other highlight from my standpoint on that is we actually had two children that were SDC children, one from Taylor and another one here from Robla. So the inclusion features are engaged with terrific technology.
Our indoor soccer tournament is in full swing. This is the second week. It is every Thursday for the next few weeks. So if you're available, it's tough. We start at like 2:30. And then finally, we will have 2 attendance challenges before spring break. One that starts Friday to Friday, and then the second one the following week. I shared with the principals, and they're already getting their advertisements to their class and motivation. So we're excited. That's it. That's the end of my report.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Let's go to board member reports. We'll start with Trustee Barnes.
Just one report, and it's more of a statement, and I don't have anything written down. I tried to write something down. I couldn't quite get to that. So, doing this off the cuff a little bit. We've had a couple of tough board meetings recently, and that's par for the course. There are a lot of other districts that get tough board meetings, and we've been fortunate. I've done this this is my 13th year on the board, and every year has been really good. Even with the tough board meetings. I want to say a couple things. One, as a board, the way we operate, we operate as one unit after we vote. And our board has been really good. We've had a lot of discussion before. Sometimes that makes us late. So apologies. And, we put our hearts into this. And then we get to a vote and we vote. And after that, we operate as one unit. Even if, we're on the other side of that vote, we've always operated as one unit. We've always given each other the civility and the respect to say whatever we needed to say. And after the vote, we've all been unified. And I've been really happy with our board because we've done a great job and we work well together. Before we get to that vote, we're 5 individuals, 5 duly elected individuals. And I know it doesn't always seem like that. People just kind of look at us as the board, but we are 5 individuals, and we do react differently, and we receive things differently, and that sometimes gets lost. So hopefully, people will see us as 5 duly elected individuals that react differently. Now, I will say this too. I've been really proud of the way that we have reacted individually. And so when I say that everything that has come to me that I'm aware of, I have investigated and looked into and tried to resolve. I know that's true. I know that's true of my colleagues up here. So I think we are a really good board, and I'm very proud to be on this board. And anything and everything that has come to us, I know that based on what I know of my colleagues, they have worked their best to resolve. No matter what their opinion of it is, we've always put our kids first, and we've always put the district first. Always. I just want everyone to know that before we do get to the vote, we are 5 duly elected individuals. And just remember that. That's it. That's all I have.
Thank you, Ken, for that statement. I have nothing to report.
Okay. And I also want to say thank you, and I very much appreciate that. Appreciate you sharing that. A lot of people don't realize that we are individuals, and so the important thing, though, to understand is no one individual has any authority in and of themselves. Our authority comes as the board, which is why it's important that we have deliberations, that we work together. And I'm involved in a lot of organizations, and I can honestly say that there is not one that I am prouder to be a part of than this one, which is probably why I've been on the board for 20 years, because I enjoy this and I enjoy working with you folks. So thank you. And when I say you folks, I mean the full governance team and our staff. Y'all make us look good, and we appreciate that very, very much. I also wanted to report this week, the California School Boards Association was doing our annual lobby week. We've been doing the meetings with our local state representatives via Zoom, which is always, Zoom meetings are always interesting. Because of the work that's being done at the state capitol, there really aren't a lot of meeting spaces that are conducive to have, multiple school board members and the elected members meet. I met with 3 different members: Assembly Member Krell, Assembly Member Hoover, and Senator Ashby, who are in the various different areas that cover our district. We talked about all of the legislative priorities of the California School Board Association. Most specifically, we talked about budgeting and making sure that the Prop 98 guarantee was met, that the COLA was fully funded, and that they once again, if the governor decided he wanted to do his creative accounting once again to readjust Prop 98, that they would reject that, and each member to a person committed that they wanted to fully fund. We wanted to fully fund the COLA, and that they definitely wanted to would make sure that there was no funny business when it came to the Prop 98 guarantee. So we also talked a lot about buses, electric buses. There's a piece of legislation specifically that would extend the 100% zero emissions mandate. Right now right now it's set for 2035. It would extend it an additional 10 years. They have gotten an earful from a lot of folks with concerns about that. So I told them I'd like to just see the requirement go away altogether. But having said that, 10-year extension would be we could settle for that. So anyway, but yeah, no, they were all very, very good meetings. And that is all that I have to report. We will now move on to presentations and information, and we'll start with item A, the 2024-25 Special Education Update.
We didn't do the public.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I skipped the public hearings. I'm a man ahead of my time. Unfortunately, it's only about 10 minutes. Okay, we're going to start with the first public hearing to sunshine the proposal from Classified School Employees Association, Chapter 285, to the Robla School District for the 2025-26 bargaining negotiations. This hearing is now open.
Are we also looking for anything online? Or do we?
Yeah, they're looking online.
I move that we close the hearing.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item B, public hearing, sunshine proposal from Robla School District to Classified School Employees Association, Chapter 285, for the 2025-26 bargaining negotiations. This public hearing is now open.
I move that we close the hearing.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Now we will move on to presentations and information, and we'll start with the 2024-25 Special Education Update. Thank you for your patience.
No problem. I want to take a really quick bird walk, though, and recognize our board, because I've worked with a lot of boards over 25 years, and some people in here know that I came and saw a board meeting before I accepted this position, and I accepted it because you guys were amazing. The way you work together, even if you have differences of opinion, just made me want to be part of the district. So you were what sold me on coming here.
Thank you.
I've learned my lesson from last year. You are getting cheat sheets on all of my acronyms.
There you go.
Good evening. I'm Janet Horowitz, the Director of Special Services for this amazing district. And I just want to tell you, as I start this presentation, that I'm just so proud of the work this district has been doing in the area of special education. So here are our 24-25 numbers. Our total district enrollment preschool through 6th grade is 2,018 students. Of those students, 331 are eligible for special education supports. That puts our percentage at 16.4% of our student population. Across the state, we are climbing. The state is currently at 14.3%. I expect that'll go up more. Last year when I reported to you, it was at 12.6%. So about almost a 2% increase. We were similar in about a 2% increase. A lot of that, in my personal opinion, has to do with COVID, has to do with, while we may have students with processing disorders, if we were able to have them in the classroom working with them from start to finish, kindergarten through 6th grade, I believe a lot of those students would have learned compensating strategies, would have learned phonemic awareness much more solidly, and we wouldn't be at 16.4%. But we are, so we're addressing student needs.
You anticipated my first question. Thank you.
Well, there may be more questions now when I get into my famous graphs. So, I tried to give you, last year I came in here and showed you our data from 23-24. That is what is in blue. The red is 24-25. As you can see, we are having a pretty significant increase in the number of students identified as eligible under autism. The other areas have stayed pretty similar or possibly dropped slightly. If you look at the bottom three, which is, or mid three there, other health impaired, specific learning disability, and speech and language impairment. I will address the question about why our autism numbers may be rising, because I have a feeling that's going to be one of those questions. One thing that we are seeing, especially at the preschool level, is during COVID, there were quite a few students that were identified as having autism over Zoom. That definitely impacts the ability for a clinician to evaluate social interactions. It's hard to do over video. Also, a lot of our children were in isolation and may not have been getting talked to as much, may not have, well, certainly didn't have the social interactions that a preschool would provide. So I'm not surprised to see the increase that we've had. It's not, obviously not us. Across the board, we're seeing increases in autism, but what we're also seeing as some of our preschool students come in eligible for autism when they turn 3 years old, after 2 years in a preschool, we're having conversations with those parents that their students no longer exhibit those symptoms, which is amazing to see. Looking at preschool levels, again, or by grade level, preschool by far had a pretty significant increase there. Across the board, we're seeing increases. I tend to look at the previous year, so the blue kindergarten students, if you drop down to red 1st grade, that gives you an idea of how many have been identified over the past year. Obviously, we're going to see growth. One of the areas where we've seen the least amount of growth and actually a slight dip is from 5th to 6th grade. Those 6th graders are students that got a solid year of kindergarten in before we went into distance learning. Those are also students, I have to hypothesize, that may not have been identified as frequently, in part because we were on hybrid and we're distance learning. And so those students may not have been identified at the rates that others are. Our 5th grade students, as you can see, was a pretty big jump. There's a lot that goes into identification of eligible students. Part of that is ruling out a lack of instruction, but it's kind of relative because all of our students suffered. So, Looking at where our students that are eligible for special ed receive services, the vast majority obviously are speech and language only. A lot of those students are preschool, kindergarten, first grade with articulation delays. And so they may receive once or twice weekly speech therapy. Our pull out, push in specialized academic instruction are students that receive what has traditionally been called a resource program. Students may come for small group instruction, or a specialist may push into the gen ed program and support them there. With our focus on helping our special education students feel included in the general education classroom to have that sense of belonging, we are moving more towards push-in services where a teacher goes in and helps support that gen ed teacher in providing direct instruction to students. Our what's called a mild mod self-contained classroom are students that spend the majority of their day in a special education environment. Those numbers, you're seeing that decrease in part because we've had quite a few students who have graduated out of that program and are either participating in the pull-out, push-in SAI or in inclusion. Our extensive support needs students, the self-contained classroom, are students with moderate or severe disabilities that would struggle to be in a gen ed classroom for more than half of their day. And then that last one that is growing is, for me, very exciting. Mr. Raven mentioned our inclusion efforts. We have truly focused on having all students feel part of the gen ed classroom and receive meaningful instruction. Looking at our primary environment, again, the blue last year, red this year. The green that you see are the 3 areas that CDE monitors us on. Those are their targets. The target for general education for more than 80% of the day, we are slightly above. Now, before I kind of get into this, I do have to say the state looks at data that is 2 years old when they're determining our monitoring. So while we may not look fabulous there, part of that is because they use data from 22, 23. So that's what's identifying us as needing support. Our other area they look at is general education students that are in, or special education students that are in general education less than 40% of the day, are students that are in self-contained classrooms. I'm really pleased to report that that has dropped from a high of 31% down to currently 18%, which is starting to approach the state target. We're super excited about that. Our numbers for separate setting, those are students that require education in what's called a non-public school, which is a setting that is a program licensed by the state but run by a private entity. We currently, over the past 2 years, have only had 2 students in that type of setting, which means we're doing a phenomenal job of educating our students in our district or within our county resources. I'm going to give a quick overview of the continuous improvement monitoring plan that I talked about last year that we wrote in November of 2023. Our problem of practice: too many of the district students with disabilities are placed in special education services for more than 50% of their day. Our root causes that we identified as a team were insufficient support on inclusive practices and universal design for learning strategies, resulting in barriers to implementation, and that students with autism were placed in self-contained classrooms at a much higher rate than students with other disabilities. Our recommended activities, I'm going to provide you an update on that. In November of 2023, we decided to add an inclusion specialist position for preschool through 3rd grade and 2 independence facilitators. Since that time, we have actually added 2 inclusion specialists and 6 independence facilitators, which has allowed us to implement inclusion at 5 of our sites and return 15 of our students to their home schools. It's our goal to have kids in their home school. Their neighbors are there. We don't want to have them going to a different school, even though we're a small district. when they can be with their friends from the neighborhood. Our second recommendation was to provide professional development for all staff regarding inclusive practices. I will touch a little bit on these when we get to the end. But since deciding to move forward with the professional development, we have contracted with Changing Perspectives. We have staff participating in the SCOE Inclusion and Community Practices and the Inclusion Facilitator Institute. We also investigated professional development opportunities for all staff regarding UDL, Universal Design for Learning, and provided that with Mr. Sam Drazen. We are also working on professional development opportunities to build understanding of the abilities and needs of students with autism. This fan blows directly on you and it just absolutely dries out. So our partners in our work, Changing Perspectives. Last year, I came to you with information about our contracting with Mr. Drazen for fall. Since we approved that contract, and I want to give a major shout out to College Futures, nonprofit in Oakland, who provided us with a substantial gift to help fund this program. Mr. Drazen has done 2 district-wide trainings focused on inclusive mindsets and UDL. In addition, we selected Taylor Street and Robla as pilot sites for inclusive practices. Taylor has had 2 professional development sessions with all teachers participating, a staff meeting focused on universal accommodations and Tier 1 strategies. Mr. Drazen has conducted 2 site classroom observations and one-on-one meetings with teachers. He continues to do coaching with our administration as well as staff members one-on-one. Robla has also had 2 PD sessions, 1 day of the class walkthroughs and a full day of teacher interviews where they were able to ask Sam questions about their strategies. If they had students they wanted to kind of workshop with him about how to help support those students. Robla's focus has been on teacher reflection on student participation and how we can make small changes in instructional design to make the classroom more engaging for all students. Last year, I also mentioned to you that we would be working with the Playmakers. Playmakers is a program that provides inclusive sports activities and games. Typically in the community, they work a lot with our feeder high schools to provide students who work with students with disabilities on weekend activities, football, basketball, soccer, all of those programs. We were able to get Playmakers to come in on a monthly basis. They are working with 4 of our self-contained classrooms, second Friday of every month, to do Fun Friday activities. And then we have 5th and 6th grade students working as peer mentors to support those children as well. I'm currently in conversations with Coach Roz from Playmakers about how we can further incorporate their programs into our district. This has been very positive. I would invite you to come check it out. It's just so great to see everybody's smiles and just the activities as they're engaging. In addition, finally, we have Sacramento County Office of Education. I have not worked in Sacramento prior to coming to Robla. I have been absolutely amazed at the amount of professional development our county provides. In addition to the Supporting Inclusive Practices program, we have been the recipient of a grant for the Inclusive Early Education Expansion Program, which will provide funds to our preschool to increase inclusion opportunities, as well as provide equipment for accessibility and other opportunities. In addition, one of our inclusion specialists is working with a company called Beginning Together, sponsored by WestEd, which is providing her with inclusion facilitator status. So that'll be a certificate. She is doing classes every Thursday night on her own time, and just really excited to have all of this really coming together. I look forward to being up here 2 years from now, being able to look at this year's data with you and really getting an idea of how we've moved towards having all of our students feel like they belong. Any questions?
Thank you.
Actually, I did. I did have one question. I know that largely we measure the success in terms of, how much pushing in we're doing, how inclusive our programs are. What data do we use to determine whether or not these inclusive practices are making a difference uh, for the students, both those who we're working to be more included and the other students? What sort of data are we looking at to determine the success in that way?
I am so glad you asked that because I have a list.
Excellent.
So, and right now, a lot of it obviously is anecdotal. We did do a pre-survey on teachers' attitudes towards inclusive practices. In May, we'll be doing our post-survey to see how that's, it measures the teachers' commitment to inclusion, their comfort level with it, and how they feel they're able to incorporate practices that help support all students. But I'm just going to give you a couple of quick examples. One is we had a student who has been in a self-contained classroom since preschool. So 2 years of preschool, kindergarten, first grade, second grade. We had her return to her homeschool, Main Avenue. And that student recently got 100% on a grade level math test without any accommodations and without any additional support needed from the inclusion specialist. I was recently in an IEP meeting last month for a student at Robla that had been similar sort of situation, been in a self-contained classroom in second grade, currently performing at grade level in math and nearly grade level in English language arts. That student is also an English learner, so that just adds another layer and really helps us feel that we are truly making a difference. And I want to read you one from one of our inclusion specialists that supports students over at Glenwood. Kindergarten student initially struggled with disruptive behavior, which is kind of an understatement, often wandering around the classroom, climbing furniture, refusing to participate and needing assistance with daily living skills. He had difficulty communicating his needs due to a limited vocabulary. His support team worked with him to set clear expectations, use visual cues, create a designated break area, limit access to furniture, and provide positive reinforcement when he followed instructions. Over time, his behavior improved significantly. He now participates fully in morning meetings and carpet time, communicates his needs and wants, and can transition to and from recess, lunch, and speech with minimal reminders. He also demonstrates improved self-control, keeps his body safe, and has gained confidence in class. Academically, he's thriving and performing at grade level. So right now, I could go on. I have pages of it, which is just so exciting for me.
No, that's actually very helpful. And unfortunately, it seems like sometimes in the area of education, it's like we always look for and reward innovation. We don't necessarily, and we do it because it's innovative, but we don't necessarily determine whether or not it's actually successful in doing what we want. And what you're talking about there, those anecdotal, that is anecdotal evidence. I'm hoping that we can develop some tools over time to put some statistical numbers to that, to show the difference in behavioral issues, to show areas of mastery, because that then we can start not just the fact that we're doing more of it, but we can also recognize the success that it's having for our students.
And I'd be happy at the end of the year when I start crunching numbers on goals met.
There you go.
Love to share that with you.
Perfect.
But I do want to add one more because one of our parents drove by Robla Playground the other day while her child was out there. And this is a student who is now in her third year of inclusion. She really struggled with remaining engaged with her classwork and had limited engagement with her peers. When the parent drove by the other day, she witnessed her child out on the playground playing tag and the other kids just running up, giving her hugs. And she was just a typical student at recess, which is what we want for all kids.
Thank you so much.
And I apologize, I am going to run out because it snowed at my house this morning and I'd like to get home before the ice. And so, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're now going to have item B, the 2024-25 second interim report and positive certification.
Good evening, President DeLuz, board members, Superintendent Chen, everybody who is here present and everybody who is online. We're presenting our 2024 second annual, keeping in mind our vision statement. Every student reaches their potential in a growth-minded environment, rich in challenging practice, and reflect the learning for all. Don't worry about this is the only slide that I will read. That overview, the package that you're approving, the second intern is 155 pages long. Today we will present a summary where what I believe is the important parts that you need to be aware. We will cover every item in this overview. Our budget assumptions. What I call the budget assumptions, the local control funding formula, what I think about is about three-leg stool. One is the average daily attendance, the unduplicated count, and the third leg is the COLA. Our funded ADA is going to be based on prior year because we are on declining enrollment, and it's about we will fund about 8,806. If we are in declining enrollment for the following year, the ADA from this year will be funded in 2025-26. All our federal care funds, we are done as of September 30, 2024. Our projections are our lottery is unrestricted and restricted. I don't think I have mentioned this before. Our unrestricted lottery, we fund all our librarians at each of the elementary schools. That's how we use the fund. And the restricted has to be only spent for instructional materials. And that is very volatile. The lottery could change, depends on the sales on the state, but that's the estimated as of this point in time. This is a new slide. What is not in the budget is as important as what is in the budget, what is in the sanctions. The governor released the budget in January before the Los Angeles fires, and in his budget includes significant a one-time funding for two grants, two block grants. One is for student support and professional development block grant. Another one is for learning recovery emergency block grant. These are one-time fundings and are not included in the sanctions for 25-26. There is also funding for transitional kindergartners to meet a ratio from 10-1 or 20 students for 2 adults, and it's not included. And also, we are in the middle of negotiations, and negotiations are not included in the assumptions. We are in the process. The City of Sacramento manage a ACES grant after school education safety. There's about $750,000. Those funds will be transferred to Robla School District to be managed for 25-26, and that is not in the budget yet. So those funds is the running programs, they are spending it. Now we have to manage, we have to spend it. Budget assumptions, enrollment determines our average daily attendance. Unfortunately, this is not good news. We have been in declining enrollment from 4 of the last 5 years. Prior to COVID, we had lost 175 students. You think about it as 7 classes. And just from last year to this year, we have lost 28 students. That alone is over $400,000 from that. So now we will discuss what is our general fund. The reports are unrestricted, restricted, and combined. For the purpose of this presentation, I presented it as unrestricted and combined. Our total unrestricted general fund is $28.9 million, of which the majority, $27.1 million, is from local control funding formula. Combined, our total revenue is about $38 million, 37.9. This is exactly the same data just on a pie chart. So we can see that our general fund unrestricted is 94%. When we combine it with the total is 72%. I want you to pay attention. This federal revenues is, I know it's only 5%. This used to be like 15% when we used to have our reserve fund. That's about $2 million. That's kind of like what we expect. We are assuming that our federal revenues will continue at this point in time. Now let's switch to the other side of the puzzle, our expenditures. Our unrestricted expenditures is $23.3 million and combined for $41.8 million. The majority, we are a people business kids, and we need adults to educate our kids. And 83% of our unrestricted general fund is for salaries and benefits for certificated salaries, classified, and benefits. Again, this is in a pie chart of the previous numbers, 83%. What you have there on the other operating expenditures includes contracts, and the majority of the expenditures in all the utilities that we use in the district. Within the general fund, there's some programs where the word is encouragement. I like to use the word contributions. So these are programs that we receive some revenue or we don't receive any revenue, where the general fund unrestricted has to contribute more, and that is a total is $5.8 million. The graders is special education is $4.2 million, and we have increased. This is always has been our biggest portion of contributions, but during the last 4 years, that amount has also been increased. And we just hear the special ed presentation. We just have more students in special ed every year, where now our district has greater percentage than the average within the state. And the restricted maintenance, we don't receive deferred revenue from the state to maintain our buildings. But we are required to spend at least 3% of our general fund to maintain our buildings, and that is the $1.3 million. So we're talking about the fund balance, and when I took this page right from the package, there is a significant ending fund balance there for restricted programs. That means we cannot use this fund for any other than this purpose. And two of these programs make up about 77%. That is the Expanded Learning Opportunity Program and the Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant. And we also have the arts and music, or Proposition 28. We do have plans to start spending the funds for 25-26. So in summary, this is this page is a summary of 27 pages in your report. You know, we start the beginning of the year with $37.3 million. We will be down to 33.5. So we do have deficit spending this year and the following 2 years. There's two kind of deficit spendings. One is where we receive the funds. In previous years, we have in fund balance. So there's no new revenue, so we had to spend those restricted programs. But we also have some deficit spending in the unrestricted portion. So even though with our deficit spending, our ending fund balance is still strong at this point. So after this point, everything has been all about the general fund, the top line. We also manage other funds within the district, and this is a summary. The cafeteria fund is the bigger ones in there. The deficit spending here is planned. We have a plan with the CD. We cannot have a fund balance greater than 6 months of operating expenditure, so we are investing in that one. The building fund, as you know, that's where the bond money is. We don't have any bonds. We sold all our bonds, so every expenditure reduces the fund balance. We will not allowed to end any of these funds in a negative, we will be positive for year. So this is where we are. So what is the opportunities and challenge? There's a lot of uncertainty in the budget, so most likely will change by the May revise. And one is at the federal level, is all over the news, is that the Department of Education will close down. So really, what does that mean for the school districts? What does it mean for us? Um, we don't know. We are operating as it will continue. We do receive $2 million in federal funding, or about almost 5% of total revenues. Our declining enrollment is a concern. Just almost we have a trend of declining enrollment, and that's concern is very concerning. We are in the middle of negotiation. It's very difficult to you're getting this call, you have all of this fund balance, but when you are in declining enrollment, our revenues are coming in are less than what we will have this current year. So therefore, our reserves are critical to maintain our programs. Our next steps, we have to continue our initiatives to increase enrollment and average daily attendance. That's number one. I also put it separate. And our staff will attend a May revised workshop. Our 25-26 budgets will be based on the May revise. So we will have a very short period of time to sharpen our pencils so you bring you to approve our budget in the LCAP for 25-26. Based on this, and it is, we recommend the board to approve the 2024 second annual with positive certification. This means that we are able to meet our obligations for this year and the following 2 years. And thinking available to answer any questions.
I have one unusual question, and this goes back to the slide you had a couple slides ago with the opportunities and challenges.
Okay.
Those are a lot of challenges, and I just we've always had a general administration. Do you anticipate that we will need another meeting sometime soon if some of these challenges come to fruition?
We could provide in a day at the May revise if there is a significant changes in the January. One thing unfortunately is the majority of the expenditures are in staffing, and we have some deadlines, statutory deadlines for like the March 15 notice. So after that, there is not there's something we could do, contracts, supplies, do something, but that this is. There is a lot of uncertainties, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. After the LA fires, I was curious, but now, as you mentioned, uncertainty in federal funds as well. I'll be paying attention.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like every day is some news about the federal government about that. So I do think there will be some reductions in the federal revenue. I don't think it will be the whole team. That's just my projections. I know we can read a lot of information, and we have to try to keep update what is the latest information. But that's where we think.
Thank you.
Any additional questions or comments? Thank you so very much. We very much appreciate all the work that you do to help us to remain fiscally solvent and aware and planning for the future. You provide us with a lot of really good information. You definitely help us make good decisions. So thank you.
You do. Thank you.
Team effort. Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Moved.
Second.
Been moved and second. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Now on to action items. Number A, approve Aruba Network Switch Solution proposed by Team One Networking under RFP 25-105.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion?
This item is for essentially replacement of infrastructure that is outdated, obsolete, and or not supported by the manufacturer any longer.
Any additional discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor? Oh, wait. Oh, I'm sorry.
I did have a question. Why are we waiting for Bell and Robla for next year?
Thanks for the question, Board Member Barnes. This equipment is funded in large part by a federal program called E-rate, which reimburses the district between 80 and 90% the overall cost of these items, depending on the category that the items fall into. And quite frankly, we just didn't have enough funds in E-rate to pay for the equipment for all of our schools. And so we've been rolling them out in a phased manner. And when the E-rate cycle, it's a 5-year cycle, funding cycle, is restarted next year, the funds will be replenished and we'll be able to complete the 2 remaining schools. Phasing them in is also somewhat of a standard practice, in particular because this equipment is new to us. So phasing it in allows our staff to learn about the equipment, to receive training, and to become conversant in maintaining it. And the other thing about phasing equipment in is that it both protects our budget from large IT expenditures that will become in a cyclical manner, and it also protects IT from budget inconsistencies that we might experience. And so in any given point, in any given year, if we suffer, a budget crisis, a budget shortfall, we aren't necessarily going to defer a large purchase that would have district-wide impact. And instead, we'd only be impacting a small portion of the district by deferring that purchase.
Okay. So when you say network switches, you're not actually, the oldest definition of switches. No one's gonna be put to any detriment by.
No, these devices, they live in the closets that don't have any signs on them that nobody ever goes into. And essentially what they do is they just route data to the different ports and to the wireless access points that exist across the district. And so the ones that we have now are functional. We cannot receive support for them any longer. And there are a couple of other issues that are moving us away from the model and the brand that we're currently using. But no one is being detrimentally impacted right now because we haven't replaced the switches at their schools.
Thank you.
Any additional discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item B, approved contract with T-Mobile for expanded bus Wi-Fi access.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion?
So this is an item that we discussed a couple of board meetings ago when we talked about technology infrastructure and some of the improvements that we've been making across the district. We have been rolling out Wi-Fi to our school buses, which already are connected to cellular networks for the purposes of streaming video to our transportation services department so that they can monitor those school buses for safety and security purposes. Transitioning to this service contract allows us to sort of multi-purpose that connection to include Wi-Fi. It also happens to make that service E-rate eligible, which reduces its cost to the district overall.
I had a couple of questions when I was looking over this. So, we can. This basically makes our bus a hotspot. Our bus is a
Absolutely.
hotspot. That's great. And we have now we have 3 electric buses, and I keep hearing something about some problems with the electric buses.
As far as I know, the buses are in use every day. So I know there are certain, differences in the way that electric vehicles operate from traditional internal combustion vehicles, but my understanding is that our Transportation Services Department does use our electric buses every day.
Okay. Okay, that is my next question. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Any additional discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item C, approve contract with Sacramento Valley Lock Works for digital door locks.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion?
So this contract is for the purchase of additional door locks. We currently use digital door locks on the majority of the doors here at the district office. However, for whatever reason, a number of them never received those digital door locks. We recently transitioned to a more secure internal process whereby folks receive badges and we're able to track and monitor access to our district office buildings more effectively. Digital badges are more secure than the keys that were being distributed to staff in the past, and essentially we can't eliminate the use of traditional keys unless we convert those remaining doors to these digital door locks.
Will the board be getting badges?
I'm sorry?
Will the board be getting
The
badges?
board can receive badges. Absolutely.
What do we have in the rest of the district?
The remainder of the district does not have digital door locks. Our offices have traditional door locks. They have to remain open for public access during the day. And then our classrooms have keys and have to remain locked during the day. So the requirements for our school sites are a little bit different than they are here at the district office.
What about like the offices in the school sites, like the administrative offices? They don't need something like this?
No, they don't at this time. They aren't a good fit for the solution that we have at the district office because of the access that's being provided to different types of folks.
Okay. What kind of access?
Well,
and this can be a future
yeah,
question,
absolutely.
but I'm just curious.
No, it's a great question. So a lot of the district office is off limits to the public for a variety of reasons. We have equipment, assets, information that needs to be secured. And for that reason, some of the buildings here have to be secured in a manner that's different than our school sites, which have public access in certain areas and have to be closed off in other areas. So it just has different egress and ingress requirements, and certain areas have to be more accessible at school sites than they do here at the district office.
So can something like this be applied in the school sites in a useful way?
It can technically. I mean, we would have to undergo like a cost benefit analysis and determine logistically if it would be feasible and or if it would be an improvement to the current means of securing our school sites. And so that analysis hasn't really been conducted. This kind of solution isn't targeted for school sites per se.
I get that. And I guess the reason I'm asking is this goes a while back. My very first school board meeting was the day before Sandy Hook. And so, I had my school board meeting and it was great and I was super jazzed from it. And I woke up super jazzed. And then I turned the TV on and I saw Sandy Hook. And I've always been curious about security since then. And we've made a lot of improvements. I'm always looking for, other areas.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm curious about this.
The safety and security of our school sites is absolutely top of mind. We're constantly making changes to our strategy on that front. We've made a ton of improvements, as you say, over the last year and a half or so. I think we talked about it a little bit at the last board meeting when we discussed the new safety plan that was approved by or the updated safety plan that was approved by the board. And it is absolutely something that we think about all the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any additional discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item D, approve 2024-25 second interim report with a positive certification.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item E, adopt dismissal of certain certificated probationary employees, resolution number 920.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item F, adopt dismissal of certain certificated temporary employees, resolution number 921.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item G, adopt first day of school for the 2025-26 school year, resolution number 922.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion?
Yes, establishing the school calendars is in collaboration with our teachers union. We are in negotiations with that. However, we feel we're already in March, we need to establish the first day of school. So this resolution is to establish the first day of school, consistent with what our first day of school has been in the last few years. So that would be August 13, 2025.
Any additional discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item H, approve sunshine proposal from Classified School Employees Association, Chapter 285, to Robla School District for the 2025-26 bargaining negotiations.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item I, approve sunshine proposal for Robla School District to Classified School Employees Association, Chapter 285, for the 2025-26 bargaining negotiations.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion or debate?
Just to say that even though these things sound identical, they are different.
Yes. One is the proposal. The first was their proposal to us, and the second is our proposal to them.
So
For those of you watching at home.
yeah.
Any additional discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item J, approve additional playground repairs at Bell Avenue Preschool by School Sains Landscape Construction Company. Did I pronounce that right?
Yes.
It sounds good. Okay.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Part of the new construction of our preschool TK building on the preschool campus, landscaping the outdoor learning environment was not part of the grant. And while the construction company did return it to how they first received it, we felt that it was important to enhance their learning environment.
Any additional discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item K, approve contract with KYA Campus Fields and Play Area Court renovations at Taylor Street, Bell Avenue, and Glenwood.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion?
This is another great opportunity where we can enhance our learning environment at the three schools. So we will be making significant upgrades for the fields. So I'm super excited. I know most of our events are held on the main campus, so this provides an opportunity not only for our after-school programs to use our outdoor space, right, to enhance their learning, but we will be able to offer additional programming with the new fields.
Mr. Castillo, you want to show the cameras the samples?
Oh, I actually put it back in the.
I just want to say how proud I am of the work that we're doing with our outside spaces. And I know, I think we've already had a lot to be proud of with the work that we've done with our campuses and with the stuff that we still have planned with the structures, the indoor structures. But I also, the outdoor spaces are part of that learning environment, and I really just appreciate the work that you've done and the rest of our staff have done to work to make sure that our outside is as useful as our inside. Any additional discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. We now move on to board member requests for future agenda items or reports. Trustee Barnes?
Nothing at this time.
Trustee Hamilton Starks?
I would like to get some more clarification about the ACES program. I know that before it was managed by the city of Sacramento. I would like to get more clarification as to why that is and why do we need to change and how that might impact our current after-school programming. So I would like to just understand why.
And I have nothing. So with that, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you for watching.